Hello everybody, today we're going to review one of the classics of board gaming. It's EastEnders! It's a show set in East London.
Pat Butcher's great.
There's not another classic board game we're forgetting, is there?
No, I think we've reviewed everything.
So it's not that we forgot to review Ticket to Ride, the world's best-selling hobby board game in 5 years of running Shut Up and Sit Down. Oh no, we were just, getting ready. And today we're ready, and let me tell you, Ticket to Ride is a game about connecting cities with tiny plastic trains. It's sold more than 3.5 million copies, and it's the proud parent of 8 expansions and 5 spin-off games, and the tremendously ashamed parent of even more expansions and spin-off games. Just this year saw the arrival of 2 new Ticket to Ride games. The first was Ticket to Ride First Journey, which snaps open 2 more years of the human existence for Ticket to Ride to invade like a ravenous predator by making Ticket to Ride playable for 6-year-olds. And we've also just now received this. Ticket to Ride Rails and Sails, which in every way we care to mention, number of rules, number of components, even words in the title, is Ticket to Ride doubled. But does that mean it's doubly good or doubly bad or both? Are you ready? No?
So today we've got a double review. First we're going to start with Ticket to Ride, and then we're going to move on to Rails and Sails. And then we're going to decide if this franchise has won us over or if we're going to return to never talking about it ever again. This is Ticket to Ride, named after the Beatles song, although John Lennon did say in retrospect that that song was about a card that a sex worker would have that showed they had a clean bill of health, which meant you were free to ride
Keep it professional.
Different, yes. It's a game it has a board. Each player gets a depot's worth of trains in your delicious colour, and you get this deck showing trains of every colour that you'll see on the board, and some wild trains. Trains that stay up all night and don't give a damn what the man says. They just want to feel the wind of the road tracks blowing through their hair. Theirs is a life free of responsibility, but yours isn't. You're going to be dealt 5 cards. These cards show the different cities that you can try and connect. Now you must keep at least 3 of these cards, and whether you connect those cities determines whether these cards are worth positive or negative points. And once they're in your hand, there is no getting rid of them.
So, how do you actually play Ticket to Ride? Well, don't worry. Maybe the principal reason for this game's success is how blisteringly simple it is. So, on your turn, you're going to choose to do one of 3 different things. The first, most common thing you're going to be doing is drawing 2 cards. Now, you can take them from this shop of face-up cards. I can take this, refill the shop, and then take this, refill the shop. That's my turn. Or you can choose to take a wild card from the shop, though that ends your turn immediately. Or, when you're drawing cards, you can draw them blindly off the top of the deck, increasing your chances of drawing a wild card and something else, or 2 wild cards. Though if you do draw blindly, the same thing will happen literally every time. Okay, so I'm fine with drawing orange, white, yellow, black, or red trains, but I really want a green, and there's no greens in the shop, so I guess I can just draw blindly, because I'm bound to get Oh, no, but, Well, now I can draw anything, at least, because I might get that. Jesus Christ, who keeps inventing new colours? The second thing you can spend your turn doing is playing these cards, picking one route on the table and playing a matching set of trains and wild trains to then fill that route with trains, putting them end on end, and this is satisfying 3 times over. First of all, it's great because it makes you feel like you're 5 again playing with these little things. Don't knock it till you've tried it. As if you're lying on the carpet and mum's on the stove, and you couldn't possibly guess that trains will one day be a regular part of your life that you will come to resent. The second reason this is satisfying is that you get to watch all of your friends inhale as you go to put trains down, because there's a possibility that you're going to claim a track that they want, that's fundamental to their plans. And most of the time it's going to be fine, but sometimes you'll watch one of your friends go, oh no, as if you threw a javelin from about 100 meters and completely skewered their goal. And the third reason it's good is you get points. Lovely points.
Or instead of collecting trains or playing trains, you can do something else. You can get some more tickets, drawing 3 of which you must keep at least 1, but you can keep more. And just like the tickets you get at the start of the game, any routes you don't complete will cost you negative points. It sounds risky. That's because it is risky. Choo choo, baby. Choo choo. Oh, God.
That's it. That's the entire game, except for a couple of rules that are unique to Ticket to Ride Europe to do with things like train stations that we're not going to cover because you might have Ticket to Ride America or Ticket to Ride Nordic countries. Game ends when someone's trains run out, and oh my god! It's not just that Ticket to Ride is simple enough that you can play it with anybody, a prize that so few board game designers seem to chase. This is the puzzle equivalent of Brad Pitt in Snatch. Every rule runs across Ticket to Ride like a muscly, thin bit of sinew, and this puzzle can effortlessly pick you up and slap you around, and that would be good. The reason Ticket to Ride is so good, then, is that it's multiple unsolvable puzzles within one another. Theoretically, mathematically, right? The best way you can play Ticket to Ride is spend the entire first half of the game getting trains, and then the back half making routes. When you know what cards you have, you don't waste any, you can exclusively go for the longest routes that are worth more points. But that doesn't take into account your lovely, lovely friends who are claiming routes before you do. So obviously claiming routes early is good, but we just said that claiming routes late is good. And Ticket to Ride is full of these unsolvable questions, like when do you get tickets? When do you tip your hand as to which routes you're collecting? Because when you start telegraphing which 2 cities you're trying to connect, your friends can start blocking you. When do you just try and rush the game out by placing all your trains? When do you exclusively go for long routes versus short ones, which is better for more points but means more circuitous routes? You can play Ticket to Ride 10 times and be no closer to answering any of these questions.
Ticket to Ride is a great family game. It's a game that deserves a space in any family home. If you don't have room for it, then maybe dislodge your cat or B-Day.
Yeah, 2 guests who've been freeloading for too damn long.
Too right. Although Shut Up and Sit Down does have a problem with Ticket to Ride. And for that one, we're going to cut to Paul Dean.
I didn't mean to do that.
Okay, so here's where I can get my grump on. Now, I like Ticket to Ride's luck pushing. I like its cute little trains, and for many of you, it would have been the first game that you tried that was a bit different. Not Cluedo, not Monopoly. Something that had a sense of newness, of all kinds of possibilities. But you've outgrown it. We all have, because to play Ticket to Ride is to take the slow crawl into ambivalence. It's that immature partner who you just got tired of, the one who still watches those television shows that now look so prosaic or even childish.
I'm a big blue engine and I know everything. I shall complain whenever I want. You're just a small red engine with ideas above your station.
Ticket to Ride's strength is that anybody can play it. And it avoids mastery or the sort of domination over control that some games have when one player runs away with things through one mechanism or another. So great, it avoids any of board gaming's real lows. So what? It avoids any of its real highs either. Thing is, once you have a group of friends who you know what you like, you know what they like, whether that's your group for the night or for the week or for the year or whatever. There are so many other games you could play that are more ambitious, that are more complex or more social or funnier or more spontaneous or have more ugly victories and shocking defeats. The point is, my point is, would I play Ticket to Ride and have a good time? Yes, I probably would. Would I rather play just about any other game that Shut Up and Sit Down has recommended over the last 5 years? Absolutely I would. Even Kingdom Builder, which is fine. Kingdom Builder is fine. Don't tell Quinns. Like, it's the game that I have the most. It's okay. It's fine. Most neutral opinion ever. I'd probably, it's just a bit more interesting. Don't tell Quinns.
Matt, did you touch this? It's got some dirt on it.
No. And then we're on to Rails and Sails. Now this is the big boy. It's the biggest, most expensive, heaviest version of Ticket to Ride. This is the bruiser. It can, it will, and it wants to hurt you. Oi! What you say about my sister, you flabbing clag?
I didn't say anything about your sister, honestly. It was...
I'm gonna get you, you bloody...
Sorry, I can't really understand what you're saying.
So, this time not only is the board bigger, it's double-sided for extra pleasure, and depending on which side you play with, the 45 tiny miniatures you're getting rid of is increased to 50 for Great Lakes, or an insane 60 on the world map, meaning the number of minutes that you're getting rid of from your pesky life increases dramatically too. But, most importantly, now you have trains and boats routes, each with their own miniatures and deck. So now you're collecting two types of cards, and obviously water routes require you to play that many ship cards of that colour. Maybe that doesn't sound like a big change, but think of it this way. Rails and Sails takes the amount of colours that you're collecting and doubles it. Even though there's always one extra thing in the shop at all times compared to normal Ticket to Ride, it's incredibly difficult to find the things that you need. And even when you do find the things that you need, yellow trains, yummy, people will be finding it a lot easier to deduce what you're trying to do and block you, opening up this nasty lockbox of mean potential for people to throw spanners into each other's works at any occasion. And suddenly the cool, chilly breeziness of Ticket to Ride is starting to huff and puff its way towards true locomotion.
Choo choo, baby.
Choo choo.
Ticket to Ride has always been a game where smiling players harbour resentment. In Rails and Sails, players harbour harbours, which doctors say can be equally bad for your blood pressure. But you might end up harbouring resentment and harbours because at the end of the game, each harbour you didn't place is -4 points for a total of -12. That said, placing harbours on the board is really hard. You need 2 boats and 2 trains of the same colour, and they need to have this anchor on the top and bottom, and lots of the cards of each colour don't have that. Even getting these cards for this shot took us a bit of time finding them in the deck. When you do get a harbour on the board, what does it do? It actually does nothing. Unless you have completed tickets going in or out of it. And at which point, if you completed the maximum of 3 tickets going in or out of that city, it becomes worth 30 or 40 points, depending on which board you're playing on. So if you did that successfully with all 3, that's 120 points potentially, which is enough to give seasoned Ticket to Ride players a nosebleed. Here's why I think harbours are ace, right? So Ticket to Ride, like so many great games, acts like pottery of all things. It's like being given a lump of clay that's full of possibility, and you think what you're going to do with it. You think of all the great things you're going to build. But the game itself is really about coming to terms with your own hubris. You know, by the end of a game of Ticket to Ride, you're left holding cards and a brain full of incomplete plans. And you're thinking, where did it all go wrong? And harbours are nothing more than this, but more so, you know? Because if you get the right tickets, if you get the right location before anyone else, and you complete everything and you put that harbour down with the right cards, then it's an effortless crown jewel in your empire. But that is a lot of ifs. It's a lot of tension, and that's so Ticket to Ride.
Overall, we ended up liking Rails and Sails a lot more than we expected to. It's still got the spirit of Ticket to Ride, and in fact, the spirit is even more present than ever.
A more present pottery spirit. So basically, it's closer to Patrick Swayze's Ghost than anyone could have dreamed. And for that reason, we really like it. It's Ticket to Ride, but longer, harder, bigger, so maybe the Beatles weren't that far off. Although, I will say that the world map side of the board, I think is too long a game. By the time you've finished it, you've got like 12 punch tickets in your hand and your routes wrap around. And
60 things to put down. We much prefer the Great Lakes side of the board.
yes, although if you're not from America, it's kind of boring.
I mean, they're just big ponds.
No offence to anyone who lives around the Great Lakes, but
They're not that great.
are they great?
But anyway, if you really like it, if you really want it, you should buy it.
I agree completely. Buy the games you want to see in the world. Was that Cher?
I think it was Cher, yeah. Great song.
But here's my question.
Hit me.
Did this game need to be longer, bigger and harder?
Probably not.
No, I actually think Ticket to Ride needed to be more interesting, evocative, it needed to be more playful, it needed to be less boring. And I don't know if Rails and Sails is a fix to a problem so much as a different kind of game. Here's my other question then. Would you rather have Rails and Sails for like £60,
Right.
45, or the base game and an expansion, which is the same price? Because that gives you 3 boards to play on, not just 2.
Can I not, if I wanted to, get this Rails and Sails and an expansion?
If you were rich. But, well, no, actually, because for an expansion, you need 45 trains, and Rails and Sails gives you 40 boats and 20 trains. So
So you don't actually get enough trains to play the base game. Oh, but it's fine, because you can use a combination of trains and boats and just play normal Ticket to Ride, but just with a mixture of boats and trains.
on land.
Yeah.
You could do that if you were some kind of disgusting war criminal. Yeah, you could put boats on land.
All right, I'm going to...
There's no problem with that, Matt. That's fine.
Let's just say
I'm
that's
not comfortable with what he's
It's a matter
recommending.
of taste. It's a matter of taste. All right. Well, taking that aside, to be honest, it's an easy answer. You probably wouldn't get Rails and Sails. You just get the base game and an expansion,
Yeah.
because the thing there is it's malleable. This is a fun thing, but with the expansions, what you can do is buy the base game, play it with your family, play it with your friends, find out what aspects of the game you most enjoy or don't enjoy, and then buy the expansion that amplifies those aspects.
And what expansions they are.
I'm so glad you asked.
I didn't ask.
We've got Asia, which adds a team play variant for close friends or families that don't deal well with lone wolf scenarios. You came last, Dad, because you're the worst. Please stop crying. You're going to have to deal with this.
The next map pack they released was India. This has players connecting cities in a variety of circular patterns that score more points, which is probably really clever. Do you understand why it's clever? I bet you do. On the other side, India becomes Switzerland, a cramped knife fight of a map for just 2 or 3 players. Prove that you're smarter than your sister once and for all, or lose and burn the evidence.
Map box number 3 takes Ticket to Ride to Africa. Africa! You only get 1 board this time, but it's the strangest one yet. Routes change colour in different areas of the board, and you can draw from a new deck of terrain cards to double the value of routes. Does your family love Ticket to Ride? Take the Africa box home for Christmas and upset everybody.
The Netherlands is another single board box, but that's okay because it has flowers running around the outside and it adds currency, where players can claim bridges, then your friends have to pay if they want to cross your bridge. Imagine players in Ticket to Ride having a reason to look one another in the eye. The final map box Days of Wonder have released at the time of this video is Ticket to Ride United Kingdom, that adds advanced technology to Ticket to Ride, which, if you've ever taken a train in the UK, is the joke that keeps on giving.
And there's more. On the reverse of that board is Pennsylvania, which adds stocks. Stocks are great. You buy them and then they make you money. What a deal! Next up, there's Ticket to Ticket. Check each other's cards and make sure you aren't travelling on a train illegally. If you are, time to leave the house. We know it's cold, Grandad, but you're a criminal. Ticket to Brine. Who likes hot dogs or tuna or capers? You better like these things because you'll need to collect all 3 on the board to take home a cool 50 points worth of train points. Ticket to Ride, you are a train. Throw away your cards, throw away your inhibitions. You are a train. Nothing can stop you, and it's time to choose the destiny that you have been placed on this beautiful...
Matt, stop! Matt, these aren't real expansions.
Listen, Asmodee might watch this video. This could be a really big deal for me. I've put a lot of money into tuna.
You've bought 400 cans of tuna.
Yeah.
It's not the same as buying stocks in something. You've just bought tuna. Yeah?
Right. Would you like a jacket potato with tuna?
Sure.
Can I borrow a potato?
I'll ask you a bit more, Thomas, the tank engine. How do you think those trains, like, where do they come from? Do they start as like baby trains? Do they have train sex? Or is it like the train is made, but then they put a soul in it? And then that's like, mate, is that like punishment? Like if you're a criminal or a recidivist or something, it's like, this is your third crime. You go in a train now, and that's your existence, is you're trapped in that fucking train. And that's just what you are now. You got no limbs, you got no balls, you're just a face on a train.